getting better. Better every day. It's turning around for me. It's turning around for me. It's getting better. Better every day. It's turning around for me. It's turning around for me.
2 roads before me. Me take the narrow one and give glory. From zero to hero, me story. Now watch who gonna lead and who gonna speed. Me just make God secure me. Hold me life, make me walk in a glory. Keep me focused, not make them detour me. Guide me life, make me live right. Please help me walk holy, cause what? Breastplate of righteousness, shield of faith, helmet of salvation, sword of the spirit, belt of truth, feet ready to spread the gospel. Praying always for your brother and sister. A warfare time now. Tell them we armed and dangerous. We armed and dangerous. When you see the man of God, don't touch him because we armed and dangerous. Yes, we armed and dangerous. We armed and dangerous. When you see the Christian, don't touch him because angels follow we anywhere we go. Whether uptown or in the ghetto. No, me no fear no man, me only fear the one who put the breath in a yo. Out of me mouth, God's word a echo. Anywhere me go, God's light me lego. You coulda be a obia man, a area than think twice before you step yourself. Cause we armed and dangerous.
Well, good evening, good night, good afternoon to you, wherever in the world you are at this time. We greet you, we greet you, we greet you. Man, I greet you on behalf of our leaders, our visionaries, how we love and honor them. I'm talking about Bishop Courtney McLean and our First Lady, Reverend Nadine McLean. I greet you also on behalf of all our leaders, our members, our partners, our friends, many of you who are listening, who are watching us right now, we greet you. I am Thelma Porter, and I'll be hosting this event for the evening. So we are together again, fresh from our word this morning. Were you at church, perfecting holiness? And of course, then we heard the testimonies of how the ancient word can get into the very core of our being and transform our lives. Of course, you would have rushed home for those of you who are in the sanctuary. Maybe you cooked, maybe you had your meal prepared beforehand, so you had something to eat. Maybe you rested, and now here we are again for this big event. I want to call it a big event because guess what? Tonight, you're going to see what is possible. It's called You Can Own It. It's a workshop. And of course, for those of you who have been trying, you want to find the answers, you need to know, how can I own my own home? What is it that I need to do? And so tonight, you will get all the answers. Listen, get your pen and paper ready. I have my pen. And I have my notebook right here, and I am prepared to take notes. I'm telling you guys, be prepared to take notes, pages and pages of notes, because you are going to be receiving the information tonight from our experts. And make sure, please, make a note of your questions as well. You're going to have questions. You're going to need the answers. Do not be shy. Don't be nervous. As a matter of fact, I put upon you right now the spirit of boldness, and I take from you that spirit of shyness. No time to be shy. You have your questions, get them ready, make a note of them, because you'll be asking the questions. Now, we're talking about owning your own home, and we're talking about different ways, different means by which you can receive that. I'm going to take you right now to a testimony of someone. Now, listen to this and let it inspire you. Go ahead, media.
Hi, everyone. So my journey to home ownership has been one that has been filled with just faith and the power of God, you know, the miraculous hands of God. A few years ago, Bishop taught on living, how to live from the 5 jars, and one of the things that he also taught us was that 70% of our income should be what we live from. So in other words, we should save 20%, tithe 10%, and then the rest of our expenses and so on should fit within the 70%. And so after that message, I tried to make some adjustments to the way I was managing my finances. I organized some savings, salary deduction, and all of that. It was a bit minuscule, but nevertheless, I went ahead and I tried. And so, come 2018, as I decided to believe God for a house, I believe I was at anniversary service, and I started to ask the Lord for a house again, you know, and I felt that he was nudging me to sow a seed. Now, based on the size of the seed that I heard in my spirit, it would have been a major challenge for me, given that my savings was already so small. However, I said, God, if the speaker called for it, I will sow it. And of course, the speaker did. He called for the seed. And with some amount of reluctancy, I got up and I went and I sowed the seed. In about December of that same year, you know, as me and a friend, we started discussing our plans for 2019. And one of them was home ownership. And, you know, I said to her, one of the things that I have learned is that when you step out, God will back you up. And so this coming year, I'm going to apply for any housing property or anything that I see advertised, because I believe if I want it and I apply for it, then God will open the door. And so that's what I did. I also decided that I was going to change the way in which I was tithing. I was a bit casual with my tithing, and so I started ensuring that I took out the tithe first. So at the end of the month, I made sure God got his tithe first before I started spending from my salary. The other thing that I did was to sort out the advice of a real estate agent, which is Sister Marine Ruddock. And so I spoke to her, I told her that I was looking a house to buy and so on. So in January, you know, I did the 1st of January, I created a status that reflected my faith that this year I was believing God for a house. I think shortly after that, I got a call from NHT informing me that I got accepted for a house. I don't know what they were talking about, because I didn't, up to this date, I don't remember actually applying for that property. But to God be the glory, I got accepted for that property. All I needed to do now was to submit my documents, which among those would be proof that I was able to afford the mortgage for that property, which cost $17 million. Of course, that was a bit of an hiccup, because based on my salary, I wasn't able to sufficiently prove that I could afford the mortgage. However, while, you know, trying to sort out everything, I think the Lord spoke to me and gave me an idea as to how to use my allowances to help me to qualify. And so as I began to work on those documents and putting them together that weekend, you know, I was going to bring that to the NHT during that week. But the Saturday before I did that, I went to a Wire to Win conference with Bishop McLean. And at that conference, a lady came up to me and she said, I heard that you're looking a house to buy. Are you ready? And I said, yes, I am ready. Of course, maybe if I had thought about the the bottom line on my bank statement, I probably would have said no, but I just answered yes, because of course I'm believing God for a house. And so I went home. That's what she just said, okay, and she left. Nothing more. I went home, thought it was a strange conversation, but I'm believing God for a house. She asked if I'm ready, so I said I'm ready. So after I went home after the conference, Sister Maureen texted me some pictures and asked me if I wanted to go look at that house on the Sunday after church. I said, sure. We went and the house was perfect. It was move-in ready. It's already in a gated community, already, proper house, and I loved it immediately and wanted that house. Of course, it was the same lady that had walked up to me at the conference. And so we began the process of acquiring that house, and the same documents that I was putting together for the previous house with NHT, I could have just handed in that to Sister Maureen. And within a few months, I was able to move in to my brand new townhouse. Now, not just that, but
there you have it, Deaconess Stacy Gray right there, showing you, proving to you what is possible. And listen, the fact that we are in a pandemic has nothing to do with it. There are persons who are owning houses in a pandemic. I refurbished completely my house in this pandemic. It is possible. And I made note of what she said. She said, God will back you. All you need to do is just step out. So true. And that is so true. All you need to do, step out and then just watch God work on your behalf. Lift your faith. I'm believing for you. Remember, take your notes, get your notebook and your pen ready, because it's going to be a great night of information and empowerment. In just a moment, we're going to be handing over to our spiritual father, but let us start officially by inviting the presence of God. Good and gracious God, how we praise you. Mighty God, how we honor you. Your name is great. This is the day that you have made. And at 18 minutes after 7 o'clock, we are rejoicing and being glad in it. We're also being glad for this ministry, WAFIF, and for its leaders, Bishop Courtney McLean and our First Lady, Reverend Nadine McLean, leaders who believe in a holistic approach to ministry to satisfy the needs of their flock. We bless you, God, for talents and skills within this ministry, so much so that in many instances, we don't have to go outside for talent to empower us, because you have blessed us in abundance with gifts and talents. And as we get ready, Lord, to receive the information in this workshop titled, You Can Own It, let us not receive simply and only for head knowledge, Almighty God, but let us go into action mode. Let us hear, let us receive, and let us move. Heavenly Father, we place this workshop and its speakers into your powerful hands. And we look forward to the many testimonies that shall come. We make this prayer in no other name but the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, who lives and reigns in unity with the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen. 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 For those of you who are just tuning in, just joining, this is a workshop. You can own it. Just showing you what is possible. And I see you there, but I want to feel you. So I want you to just give me a wave. Just give me a wave, just to let me know right there on Facebook, even on Zoom, on YouTube as well. Just let me know that you are there. Just a wave. In just a moment, we're going to be handing over to our spiritual daddy, but I want to see those waves coming in. I see you, but I want to feel you. I see you, but I want to feel you. I see you, but I want to feel you. Hey, Farah, I see you waving. Hey, Melbourne Silburn, Deacon, I see you waving too. Thank you so very much, Farah. Yeah, yes. I see them coming in. I see them coming in. I see the waves coming in. Thank you so much, and get ready. You are in for a treat. I'm going to be welcoming our spiritual daddy right now, but before I invite him, Daddy, I just want to say to you, sir, we thank you, and I'm sure I'm saying it on behalf of just about everybody who is watching right now. We want to thank you for the fact that you expose, sir, your children to things of value, things for our total development. Under your leadership, we are encouraged to go and to grow, and for that we are eternally grateful. If we don't move, sir, it has nothing to do with you. It's all on our shoulders. We just love and appreciate you. Let's welcome our spiritual daddy right now, Bishop Courtney McLean. Welcome, sir.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Lady Thelma. Thank you so much. And God bless you to everyone who is online, both Facebook, YouTube, whatever media, social media platform you are joining us on. And I'm seeing several persons in the Zoom room. God bless you all. I want to give a big shout out to Alexia Campbell, our special guest. Thank you so much for coming in, Alexia. We do appreciate you. And Alexia is the Senior Financial Services Specialist. So she's a specialist of the Lady Maureen, who is basically responsible for putting this whole workshop together. She brought the specialist in. So you know you're in for a treat tonight. And we are really excited about that. Well, Wafif, thank you so much too, Lady Maureen. Thank you for, just being willing to do this. I believe many persons will benefit. I believe many persons will benefit from this. I honestly believe that. And I know that God would have used you to help so many persons already. And I am looking forward to mega impact as we continue. Now, Wafif is a holistic church, and I'm working out. I preached 2 services today. I came home and I washed the garbage pan. Yeah, the bishop washed garbage bin. I washed them, bleached them out, put them down, and then made myself some oatmeal. And then I got some rest. I'm not working out. Wafif is holistic. You must be holistic in terms of your approach to life. If you're not holistic, you're in trouble. If you are merely spiritual, and let me tell you, if you claim to be spiritual and you're not holistic, you're actually spirited, not spiritual. Because spiritual people understand how to look at the word in a holistic way. Not just one way where we know that we get saved, we're going to heaven, we have faith, we believe in God and stuff like that. Listen, can't work like that. We must take a holistic approach to life, a holistic approach to ministry. And that's what Wafif has been doing. Now, this workshop was inspired by a conversation I had with Tracy Swell. And Tracy shared with me some time ago, she said, Bishop, I don't understand. Some of the members, they sit under the teaching, the different things that you do, but they're not moving. I'm not sure some of them are getting it. Well, I don't know. Thank you for that encouragement, Lady Thelma, because sometimes when I think about the sacrifice and all that I do, and I see the way some people are, it makes me wonder, really makes me wonder. So this gentleman, he's working, his wife is also working, and he's living in a rented house, right? And I told Tracy to ask his permission to share the testimony. He's living in a rented house, and they share kitchen. Oh, you know that can't be nice. You live in a rented house and you share a kitchen with people. That's uncomfortable. Now, on top of that, he's seeing powdery substance at his door when he opens the door, whether in the morning or in the night, I don't know. But powdery substance, he said his wife is getting sick and the living condition is miserable, and he's asking for prayer. Is it prayer that he needs or advice? Is it prayer that he needs or wisdom? I believe wisdom. Yeah, we could give you a little prayer, but what you need is prayer for wisdom. Because you see, he said when he was told that, have you explored the option of acquiring a house? You working, your wife working. The job that he's in is not such a bad job. But I realized wisdom was needed. The Bible says wisdom is the principal thing. And what most of us need, we need to shift our mindset. I'm not even sure he has moved towards a house up to today. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure. And that's sad. It saddens me when I hear things like that, because we would have been sharing the word. We had been teaching, doing workshops, doing seminars annually. Different things would happen to encourage people and to challenge people to move in a direction of stability and success in a holistic way. And so I'm not sure he moved, but I want for you to know that our mindset, sometimes we were raised a particular way. And even when we're seeking to acquire a house or we're setting our goals, the mindset is not the mindset of a victor. The mindset is not the mindset of someone who can. The mindset is one that is filled with fear, and rather than being filled with faith. Sister Tracy said to him, all right, so have you utilized the NHT option? He said, I don't think I can afford it. And he didn't move. People, shift your mindset. I believe God wants us to shift our mindset. I'm not sure how you were raised. I'm not sure what background you're coming from. But it doesn't matter where you're coming from. What matters is where you are going. What matters is who you believe in. And I pray this evening, I pray for you that there'll be a shift in your mindset. I was just looking at another testimony. I'm not sure if the guys are going to pray, of Sister Mitchell. And she was sharing of how she wasn't working at the same company. She was getting 60% less in terms of her income. And she spoke to Lady Maureen. She already owned a home, and she wanted to do another one for investment. You see that? That's an open mindset. That's not having a mindset of lack or limitation. You have to have a mindset that it is possible, a mindset of faith. And I want to challenge you. Thank you, Michelle. Somebody hashtag that. Mindset shift. Shift mindset. Mindset shift. You have got to shift your mindset. And in order to shift your mindset, you have to speak to the right people. And so she spoke to Maureen, and Maureen said, listen, you can still own it. Hey, somebody shout, you can own it. Somebody say, I can own it. Thank you, Maureen, for sharing that, Deaconess Maureen. You can own it. And Deaconess Maureen shared that with her. And what she did was she sold her car and she invested the money. And Lady Maureen showed her how to own both homes, and then shortly thereafter to purchase a brand new SUV. To God be the glory for destiny helpers, for people of faith who challenge us to come out of the negative mindset that tells us that we can't. And as a result of that, she's now collecting rent from that property, and she's driving a new vehicle. Some people don't like when we talk about these things. They make it look like we're carnal. And sometimes church people are so hypocritical. Don't you want a house? Don't you want to live a life where you're able to provide for your children, to take care of your obligations, to take care of your responsibilities? Don't you need that? Of course we do. We all do. And we need to stop playing around and making it look like, what if it's carnal? Or people are carnal when we talk about these things. God doesn't want for you to own a house. God wants for you to own houses. God wants for you to live a comfortable life where you are able to be a blessing to others. So this workshop about you can own it is not just about first-time owners. It's about people who have equity in their properties. And you need to leverage that so that you can have several houses, so that when you die, you leave a legacy and you don't leave debt. So many believers, when they die, they leave debt and they leave a burden upon so many persons. Let me tell you this, it's time for a shift. It's time for action. And some people say, okay, God doesn't want us to borrow. Let me tell you this. The prophet said to the woman, go borrow some vessels. It was borrowing that got her into trouble, but yet he sent her to borrow again. He said, go borrow this time for your business. Go borrow for the investment. Because after a while, that money that you borrow, it will not have the same value. Right now, what I'm paying for mortgage is what many persons are paying for rent. After a while, the money that you are paying back, it's not going to be as challenging as it is, as it might be initially. And so I want to challenge you this evening to shift your mindset, to believe, to get advice from people who can help you, and stop talking to people who can't help you and people without wisdom. Talk to the right people. Understand also that faith is action. Faith is action. Many people, they claim to be moving in faith, but they are moving in hope. Faith acts while hope sits. Oh my God. Faith acts while hope sits. When you're hoping, you sit down and you wait on somebody to pity you, and you have a victim mindset and a victim mentality, you are powerless. But faith is active. Faith says go. Faith says act. Faith says move. Listen, I'm believing God that people are going to give me houses. But I'm not sitting down and waiting on people to give me houses. I am strategizing in how to own houses. I am putting myself in a position, if somebody give me, glory to God. But I'm not sitting down and waiting on that. I'm putting myself in a position where I can acquire 1, acquire 2, acquire 3, acquire 4, because I believe in generational blessing. I believe in generational success. And I declare over your life, many of you who are coming from a background where nobody no own nothing, I break that mindset from your life. I break that way of functioning. I break that poverty mindset. I break that limited mindset, and I declare in the name of Jesus that the blessing is stronger than the curse. And God is bringing you to a place of action, a place where you will not own only 1. Your mindset is opening up, and you are recognizing, I can own 2, and I can start collecting rent now. I can own 3, and I can have some financial stability. I am not going to be a slave. My son was doing an assignment last week, I think, or week before last. And he shared with me, and he said to me, no, I was looking at his paper. And if I'm remembering right, in 1834, the slaves got a greater level of liberation. And the slave owners, the plantation owners, told them, we will no longer let you work from sunrise to sundown, right? We're going to let you work 5 days per week, 40 hours per week, 8 hours per day. And I'm like, boy, isn't that the same system that we're living in right now? With most of us, it's not even 8 hours we're working. We're not on our own time. We are on a treadmill. We are on a system where we are so sucked in, and many of us, we are sick, we are scared, we don't have liberty. It's modern day, the system today, I believe, and I know this can be controversial, it's modern day slavery. And you need to be working your way from out of the system. So you own several properties, and you start collecting, and you're doing several things, and you're thinking differently, so that you have time to spend with your children. You have time to spend with your spouse. You have time to do the will of God. And that requires a strategy. I'm going to close by saying, believe and move, don't hope and sit. Enlarge the level of your faith by linking with the right people, and stop walking with small-minded people. Believe and move, don't hope and sit. It's what if you go. This is the Action Church, and your bishop's favorite word is now, is move, is get it done. We don't make excuses, we make a way. My God, I feel like preaching right now. We don't make excuses, we find a way. We find a way. And Jeremiah 29, verse 4 through to 7 declares, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captive. Many of us, there's a level of captivity in our lives. With all that is happening, we're experiencing a level of captivity. Many of us, that's the truth. We're living in a system that doesn't necessarily favor many of us, but we're going to flip it because there's a prophecy over your life. And hear the prophecy. You are in captivity, but the word in verse 5 is build houses and dwell in them. Some people say with the pandemic and all that is happening, I don't want to do this. I don't. Build houses. They were in captivity. And verse 5 says, build houses and dwell in them, plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Take yourself wives, go get married. Yes, and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that he may increase fear and not be diminished. And seek the peace of the city, whither I have caused you to be carried away captives. God is in control. You're not living in Jamaica by chance. If you are here right now, wherever you're viewing from, you can own it. God said, go take it. There's a prophecy over your life. I know there's warfare. There's a level of captivity. Something is going on. But he said, I am in control. Go and seek the peace of the city. Go and own 1. Go and own 2, 3, 4, 5. I see some of you coming into 10. Can you dream it? Can you believe it? Because if you can see the invisible, you will achieve the impossible. It's your time to own it. Shift your mindset. It's your time to own it. Don't hope and sit. Believe and act. You can own it. Multiple streams of income coming upon you. Even if you don't have a husband or a wife to join with you, there is a way. Faith finds the way. Father, move in the lives of your children. Create mega shift, I pray. Let that small thinking, let that way of operating, let it be broken from their lives. And I thank you for them owning things, dominating, conquering, stepping into a whole new dimension. In Jesus' name, you can own it. Enjoy the workshop. God bless you.
God bless you too, our bishop, speaking like a daddy does, empowering his children. Hashtag mindset shift. Let me see you writing that again. Hashtag mindset shift. Oh my goodness. He takes a holistic approach to his ministry. Yes? Total
May
man.
I jump in and
but
say
not
one
only
more
the
thing?
ministry.
May I interrupt you, Lady
Yes,
Thelma? May I
Dad.
interrupt you?
Yes, Dad.
Listen, another thing that I observe, people don't want to get insurance. People get an insurance policy. Live a holistic life. Allow God to bless you. Don't die and leave a burden. Die and leave a blessing. Take a holistic approach. Get church mate. Get multiple policies. Listen, insurance can break generational curse. A good insurance can break generational curse. Don't be selfish where you're only thinking about you. Think about your posterity. Think about those you are leaving behind also. Own it and leave a legacy. I won't interrupt you anymore, Lady.
Anytime, sir. Anytime. So, my friends, you came to hear how you can own it, and look at that. You got so much more from our spiritual father because he's just who he is. He's Bishop Courtney McLean. He lives to empower his children, and we bless God for him. I saw your note, Minister Clayton. He says, I will own them. So he's gone past it. I will own them. And then I looked at another text, and it talks about teamwork makes the dream work. Let me remind you that it doesn't stop there. John Maxwell says, teamwork makes the dream work, But the dream becomes a nightmare when a good leader has a bad team. But we bless God for Wafif. We bless God for Bishop Courtney McLean. He's a great leader and he has a great team. Hey, hashtag great team for me, please. Great team, great team, great team. Well, I did tell you earlier, make sure you have your pen. Make sure you have your notebook, because I am ready to receive the information. You did not come here just to get the information. You came to receive it and to act on it. Outside of that, it will only be head knowledge. It becomes profitable when you put that knowledge into action. That's where it matters. Not where you get excited and you leave this workshop all fired up and all passionate and then it stays there. You're to move into action mode. That's what this is about. Or your knowledge will just be head knowledge, nothing else. So get ready, take your notes, get ready to receive, and get ready to take action. We're going to be getting ready now to release our first speaker. Of course, many of you know her. She is a specialist in real estate, both in acquiring real estate and in financing real estate. She offers specific advice on how to prepare to purchase property, and many of you want to know that. She has over 20 years experience in writing mortgages and 4 years as a real estate agent. Maureen Ruddock is very passionate about converting the people of God into home owners. Get ready. Have your ears open. Have your minds open. Open your heart to receive what this woman of God has to share tonight to you. Welcome, Deaconess Maureen Ruddock. I think you're muted. We're not hearing you, Deaconess. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you can hear me. There you go.
Yes,
there you go.
Here I am.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bishop, First Lady, ELT, Ministers, Diane Connett, everyone online. Good evening. I'm very, very excited to be here. My computer is doing some delay reaction, but I will try to just get into the meat of the matter. So I hope you're all well, and I'm very, very excited to be here. I'm here, my intent is really to empower and to motivate you to just step out and step out in faith. When I became a Christian, majority of my deliverance happened in my mind. So tonight, I'm really hoping that some persons will be delivered with this information I'm about to deliver. I was reading Micah 4, verse 4, and Micah says, everyone will sit under their own vine and under their own fig tree, and no one will make them afraid. When I read it, I get an image of plenty and security, but my image is not vine and fig tree. My image is my own home and under a mango tree. And I believe that if Micah was here, he would have said, everyone will sit under their own vine and under their own fig tree. Sorry, everyone will sit in their own home and under their own mango tree, and no one will make them afraid. So I believe that God is really interested in our comfort. So we'll start tonight by looking at real estate investment. Here we go. Here we go. So what is real estate? Real estate is land along with any permanent improvements attached. There are three main categories of real estate: residential, commercial, and land only. So now residential is any property used for residential purposes. This would include like a single family home, condos, duplexes, townhouses, and multi-family residence, fewer than 5 individual units. So if you have a multi-family residence and over 5 units, it's considered commercial. And then commercial real estate is any property used exclusively for business purposes, such as gas stations, grocery stores, hospitals, hotels, theaters, and etc. And land is undeveloped property and agricultural land such as farms. Right, so I'm going to look at investment property versus buying a home to reside. It is said that when buying a property for investment purpose, that you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. That's because unlike buying a residence to live in, buying an income property for investment, it's all about the numbers. And there are many more metrics than just a simple sales comparative analysis to consider. Buying an investment property at the right price, with the right type of loan, with the right expectation for your projected income is how you make money and increase the value of your investment over time. When you buy a property to live in, you're mostly looking at one metric, sales comparable. You want to see that the house is priced appropriately compared to the other houses like it in the neighborhood. If the house needs work, you want to make sure the asking price is in line with the condition of the unit. You want to ensure that the house meets some or most of your expectations regarding comfort and effectiveness for your living condition. If you're buying a house as an investment that you plan to rent to tenants, you not only want to run sales comparable, I'm sorry, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, we are. Great.
All right.
Great, we are. We're just seeing it now.
All right, so if you're buying a house as an investment that you plan to rent to tenants, you not only want to run sales comparable, but you also want to make sure that the monthly rent you're likely to get is much higher than your monthly expense and the monthly payments on the property, or close enough to give an eventual return on investment. A real estate agent will assist you in making some of these decisions. All right, so investing in real estate, key takeaways. Appreciation, we're going to look at appreciation in value, location and development, income from rentals, inflation, and real estate investment fund. All right, so appreciation in value. The most common way to make money in real estate is through appreciation. Appreciation can be gained through buying and holding, home improvement, or flipping houses. So buying and holding is the traditional way of earning from real estate. So for example, you can buy a single family home and rent it out, or you can buy a multi-family home and live in one unit while renting the others, or purchase a multi-family home and rent all units. Appreciation can also happen through home improvement. So home improvements can also spur appreciation by putting in an extra bathroom or remodeling a kitchen. So for example, and this is just an example, you can spend 1 million adding a bedroom and the house value may move by 2 million. Of course, you would have to consult the professionals before doing it to have an idea of your returns before spending. It is also important to do the right research before doing any large-scale renovations to ensure you do not over-improve of the neighborhood. And then flipping. Okay, so flipping is a term used primarily to describe purchasing a revenue-generating asset and quickly selling it for profit. So house flipping is used by real estate investors to describe the process of buying, refurbishing, and selling properties for profit. It is important, though, to have routine renovations and good upkeep of your property, even if you are not thinking about leveraging it right away, as this will assist in maintaining and improving the value of your asset over time. All right, so location. Why is real estate location so important? The three most important factors when buying property are location, location, location. Why did this cliche become so popular? If we stop to think about what we are actually buying when we buy a property, the reason becomes clear. So most people make a decision to buy a property based on how much they like it. When you buy a property, you're buying a plot of land. The house that is currently standing on that land can be renovated, remodeled, or even demolished and turned into condos. The one thing you can't change is the location of the land you own. When looking at residential properties, location is often the biggest factor in appreciation. Consider the accessibility, appearance, and amenities of a neighborhood, as well as plans for development. As the neighborhood around a home evolves by adding bus routes, schools, shopping centers, playgrounds, and more, these changes cause the home's value to climb. Of course, the trend can also work in reverse, with the home values falling as neighborhood decays. Development. The most obvious source of appreciation for undeveloped land is, of course, developing it. As cities expand, land outside the limits become increasingly valuable because of the potential for it to be purchased by developers. Once developers build houses or commercial buildings, it raises the value even further. This trend can be seen in many communities, especially in St. Catherine. And I'll give you an example. When Chemtech and Gore started building communities in Old Harbor, the land in the surrounding communities, the prices and the values started going up. The income from rental. So real estate generates wealth by providing a regular payment of income, generally referred to as rent. Residential and commercial property income comes in the form of basic rent. Tenants pay a fixed amount per month, which will go up with inflation and demand, and you take out your cost from it, claiming the remaining portion as rental income. Royalties. Companies may pay royalties or regular payments for any structure they add. These include, like, for example, billboards, pipelines, access roads, and cell towers. Raw land can also be rented or leased for production, usually for agriculture. Land tracts with trees may be valuable for timber, mahogany, or cedar that can be periodically harvested. This is another form of income. And then we have Airbnb and vacation rentals. Airbnb and vacation rentals are known as short-term rentals. The demand for home away from home rentals have taken off in recent years, as many travelers prefer this option to staying in a hotel. Homeowners can earn by renting out a house or even just a room on a short-term basis, especially if the property is in an area that's a well-known tourist destination. Due to COVID, it has slowed down a bit, and it's unclear when the market will fully return. But when it does, bear in mind that short-term rentals are sometimes banned in certain communities. I'm going to look at real estate as a tool to fight inflation. Real estate investments are often seen as inflation hedge instruments. Inflation hedge investments are typically assets that are expected to increase or at least maintain in value over a period of time. This plays into three aspects that make real estate a great tool to fight inflation. One is appreciating in value, increasing in income, which is rent, and depreciating debt, which is your mortgage. So basically, you have this property that is appreciating in value, the rent is increasing over time, and your mortgage is going down. The role of inflation in property values. When considering appreciation, you have to factor in the economic impact of inflation. An annual inflation rate of 10% means that your dollar can only buy 90% of the same goods the following year, and that includes property. If a piece of land is worth, let's say 100,000 10 years ago, and it sat undeveloped, and today, due to inflation, it may be 5 times more at 500,000. Inflation alone can lead to appreciation in real estate, but while you may get 5 times your money due to inflation when you sell, many other goods cost 5 times as much to buy too. So purchasing power in your current environment is still a factor. Okay, so I know we have some persons that want to invest in real estate, but they don't want to take on the hassle of really buying the property, insuring, collecting rent. So for those persons, you have a real estate investment fund that you can look at. So what a real estate investment fund is, it's a fund that is managed by wealth advisors. The fund is invested in income generating real estate. Basically, individual investors' monies are pooled and then invested. This makes it possible for individual investors to earn dividends from real estate investment without having to buy, manage, or finance any properties themselves. Fund managers investment is made in real estate properties such as apartment buildings, cell towers, hotels, medical facilities, offices, warehouses, and the list goes on. This investment is considered medium to long term and medium risk and doesn't fluctuate as much as stocks. I gather that last year, one particular fund paid a 10% return on investment made by individuals. Okay, so let's look at renting versus buying a home. I believe the first thing you need to look at is to examine your personal values. A good place to start is with your personal value. What is really important to you in your life, in your family, your freedom, your security? How does these values fit with different housing situations? So after you look at your personal values, list and prioritize your goals. Think about your future. Where do you want to be in 5 years, financially and in general? What other financial or life goals do you have? These could include reducing your debt, paying for education, or moving to be closer to family. Where does home ownership rank among these goals? How might it affect your other plans? I believe you should also weigh the trade-offs of renting versus owning. Every decision has trade-offs. Things you get and things you give up. Both renting and owning comes with such trade-offs. To help make the choice that is right for you, weigh some of the trade-offs. Think about which would impact you the most and what you care about. So some benefits of owning: greater control over decisions related to home and living environment, potential to build equity, greater privacy, no home inspections by landlord, monthly mortgage principal and interest payment relatively remaining the same. Then you take a look at your current financial situation. In this moment, where are you financially? How would you rate your financial health? So this is very important, as some persons believe that they are not in a position to purchase a home. But whether you are or you're not, you will only know by stepping out and getting more information. That is it for the real estate investment section. Any questions?
All right, thank you very much, Deaconess Maureen. So it is your time now. Those of you who are listening, watching intensely, now is your opportunity to ask questions. Deaconess, you've mentioned a number of options.
Right.
Give us an idea. What aspect of real estate is most attractive to persons? You've been dealing with it over 20 years and you have seen the number of options. Which one would you say is more attractive, or what's the most attractive one that people, run towards?
I believe the most attractive one, based on my experience, is persons actually buying the properties and renting them. And
Yes.
over time, what we have to understand is that, okay, so you buy one now, your income probably barely got you through. But when you start to rent it, that rent is also looked at as income. So you can add that to your existing income and move on to the next one. Understand?
Yes.
So I believe that is the root. Some persons buy single family, turn it into multiple, and so collecting multiple rent.
Yes, I agree with you, because the property that I purchased, I had property and then I built on it. And that was years ago. And I remember I bought my lot for $27,500, big lot.
Wow.
And people were just, going after it like wildfire. There were 50 lots available. And many persons bought not because they were interested in building, but the same real estate investment. Persons bought at that time, 27,500, sold for 50,000 right away.
Wow.
Investment. Now, that same property, the same size, 2 million, 2.8 million.
Right.
Appreciated over the years.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm checking to see if there are any questions so far. None. All right, let me find out from you. Having been in the business for so many years, what are some of the most frequently asked questions? If you are doing a profile now and you wanted to put a list of frequently asked questions from participants, from clients, what would be a couple of them? You could probably share that with us.
I think the most frequently asked question is, where do I get the deposit?
Where do you get the deposit? Where do I get the deposit?
Yes.
All right, that's an interesting one. Tell us.
And some persons are of the mindset that, boy, with all of that money that I need, and to be frank, because sometimes it's a lot of money. However, there are different ways that you can come across. Like for instance, VNBS gives 97% financing, which means that technically it's a 3% deposit. However, the seller has a right to a deposit. So I've known of persons that they've borrowed the deposit, pay it. When the loan is processed, they pay back the loan, things like that. I've had persons that only save the deposit, but because of the 97% financing, the extra in the loan facilitates the covering the closing costs. So there are ways. They just need to. I know most persons believe that it's impossible and it's because of a lack of knowledge, And what I normally keep saying to persons, if you're 18 years old and you start working, once you start getting an income, you go and get the information. If you're not there, I can help you, or whomever can help you to get there. You know, I've had people come to me carrying home $20,000 net.
Yes.
And I sit with them and I look at the loans and I say, listen, try and consolidate this, try and do that. How long will this be? You understand? Until we get to a point of home ownership. I've had clients of 5 years, putting them in that position, 2 years, 1 year, 1 year, a few months. You know, the important thing is to go out and get the information.
Yes. But knowing you also go give the people the information and have them do less work. I know you, Deaconess Maureen, that's how you are. Well, I did say that people should put the questions in the chat. And now I'm looking at Dana Grant on Zoom. She says the investment fund sounds interesting, something I could potentially do. Where can I go to find more information on that?
Okay, so that one, I'm not really in that area, but you know, I did some research to ensure that everybody's covered. But I know that we can contact Alexia, who will put us on to a wealth advisor at Victoria Mutual Wealth Management.
Yes.
So Alexia is on. I think she's next after me. She's going to talk about, you know, preparing yourself and savings and stuff. So she
And
can
Alexia will be
help.
coming on in a moment.
Right.
Yes.
So we'll share Alexia's information so they can reach out and she can assist.
All right, so
area.
please go ahead and write your questions in the chat. Here is one on Facebook. It says, I would like some clarity, name of the fund, where they are available, etc., of the pooled investment fund, and what kind of returns are we looking at?
I'm going to be sharing that. I'm going to be sharing that Alexia's
The next
information,
segment.
but one particular fund told me that they paid 10% in 2020. 10% they paid for that year to the investors.
All right, I hope you got that one clear, Deacon Ronald. Thank you so very much. Can you put yours in the chat, Brother Ricketts, Brother Barnes? Can you just write it in the chat so that we can have Deaconess Maureen answer? What are some of the issues that will cause you, that will prevent you getting a loan? What are some of the issues, some of the situations that will prevent you getting a loan?
Awesome question. And that is why I always root for people to come before they're ready. So one main issue is credit. And I'm going to look at that in the mortgage section. So
all right,
credit,
so Christine McKenzie, just keep listening and that will be shared in the mortgage section. Deacon Ronald says, thanks, it was very clear. So he's good on that. All right, Mark Barnes says, how likely is it to start the investment fund as saving towards deposit, etc.? How likely is it to start the investment fund as saving towards deposit, etc.?
Okay, so the investment fund, I would say it's more of a medium to long term. What Alexia is coming with will help you, the different instruments that can help you towards saving for that, for the deposit.
All right. Here's one from Wendell Ricketts. Does student loan affect your credit score? Also, does spouse credit score affect your ability to get a mortgage? Let me repeat, does student loan affect your credit score? Also, does spouse credit score affect your ability to get a mortgage? Two-in-one question there.
Preempting me. I'm going to look at credit score, but let me talk about it for a little. So in Jamaica, I think I'm going to repeat that when I do in the presentation. So in Jamaica, we're pretty new to credit reporting. So the institution doesn't really rely solely on the credit report, on the score or the credit report. So a lot of persons have approached me with bad credit, and what I do is I would find out what the issues are, because things happen. I mean, I've been down the road, you're sick, you lose job, things like that. So once there is once you come and we sit and discuss it, I'll tell you how we can move depending on the issue. But it's not that there's no hope.
Yes, yes, thank you very much. I'm wondering if we should just let Lady Alexia do her thing, and then afterwards, when they ask the questions, either of you will take it depending on who is the relevant person. Do you think that's a plan? Could we do that?
That's fine.
Yeah, because I noticed some of the questions you say that when Lady Alexia comes, then she'll be better able to answer. So I think that's the best thing to do. So we're going to get ready now to release Alexia. And then after that, we can entertain the questions. And then either Deaconess Maureen or Lady Alexia will be able to answer the questions. All right. So it gives me pleasure then to welcome our next presenter. She is Alexia Campbell. She's a financial services specialist with VMBS with over 7 years experience in banking. She holds a first degree in hotel management and a master's degree in business administration. So we continue to encourage you to take your notes, get your questions ready. At the end of this presentation, we'll have all the questions answered. Welcome, Lady Alexia Campbell.
Thank you. Thank you, moderator. It's great to be seen. Can you just let me know if you're hearing me clearly?
I am hearing you clearly.
Okay, wonderful. Awesome. All protocols observed. Good evening, WAFIF family. And I hope you all are enjoying your evening so far and are taking good notes as our moderator has advised, because the information that you're getting here today, it's value for your money. How much money did we pay to come on this program tonight? I'm sure Bishop made that free for all of us to enjoy this wealth of information. And so I hope that everyone is just making good use of what is being shared here today. I want to thank Maureen for inviting me to speak on this topic with her, because I work at the VM Group on the building society side of things. And this is something that we're very passionate about, getting Jamaicans into their own homes and walking them along the way, showing them how to get there. Because many of us, we have the dream, but we don't quite know how to go about achieving this dream. And so we really enjoy coming on to programs like these to educate the populace as to exactly what you can do to get it done. And it doesn't matter where you are in your cycle right now, it can be done. We've seen it, Maureen and I, we've had the experiences. We work closely together as well in doing these mortgages and stuff. And so we know that it can be done. Just reach out to the relevant persons and we can help you to walk it through. So this evening, Maureen has asked me to speak to you guys about how to basically save toward investing in your real estate. And saving is something that many Jamaicans are so averse to. It's as if we're afraid of it. We believe in tomorrow taking care of itself. We're very, very big believers of tomorrow will take care of itself. But I'm here to disillusion you about that today. Your bishop mentioned earlier about thinking about future generations. He spoke to you guys about the mindset, and I really just enjoyed listening to him as he gave that initial pump up for this session, because the mindset that we have as Jamaicans to not save, or to save what is left after we've spent everything that we feel like we need to spend, is definitely something that we need to do away with in this 21st century. If we're ever to reach any of our goals, we want to get the right mindset, as your bishop has said, right? And that means changing our perception of saving, as if saving is this thing you're putting down your money for somebody to come and enjoy tomorrow, instead of enjoying it today and leave tomorrow to fend for itself. I am here to encourage you. Please change that mindset. So yes, I'm coming back to you with this mindset thing. Bishop must have seen it in the spirit that we're coming to speak to you guys about the mindset this evening. So we really want to have you remove that kind of thinking, because if you're ever going to achieve this goal of home ownership, the truth of the matter is the majority of us as Jamaicans, if we don't save toward this goal, it will forever remain just out of our reach, right? Because most of us are not born with a gold spoon in our mouth. We don't have mommy and daddy fortune to go and pick up and pay down a deposit at 5 or 10% on a property. So we have to save toward this goal. Many of us are earning Some of us are earning a lot, some of us are earning a medium amount, and some of us are earning small. It doesn't matter where on the scale you fall. The dream of home ownership is something that you can achieve. You just have to have the right mindset and the right attitude, and you must be willing to act, right? So you can't just have the mindset and have the attitude. The word tells us that faith without works is dead. And so we don't want to just sit over here as Christians and say, oh, I have faith that the Lord will give me a house. You have to do your part. And in doing your part, this means saving, right? So the first thing we want for you to do is to, wherever you are right now in the financial life cycle, we want you to take just a second and think about it. What is my goal? And what do I need to do to achieve this goal, right? So in purchasing a home, there are several costs affiliated with it. I was telling a friend of mine the other day that before I started working at VM, I was in finance before for about 5 years before I came to VM. But I too had the wrong belief where home ownership was concerned. I believed all along that, you know, I'm just gonna decide when I reach the age that I want to own my home, I'm just gonna find the house, go to NHT, get the money from them and buy the house. When I came to VM and I started to learn about this mortgage thing, I realized that this thing, it's much bigger than that. And it requires me to have some funds up front, that you're gonna need some money. You can't go about buying a house without any money at all, right? And so this is why we're here today, to encourage you guys to save toward your goal of home ownership. So the first thing you want to do in preparing for home ownership is to take a look at where you are in your life cycle, take a look at what you want to achieve, and have an idea of the type of property that you would want to go after, because this will impact the amount of money that you will need to have. And when I do consultations with clients who are interested in purchasing their homes and we're having that initial discussion, it's usually a case where I'm encouraging you to have anywhere between 10 and 20% of the cost of the property as cold hard cash, free cash that you can access easily. So yes, you can have it on an investment instrument, you can have it in your saving account, but wherever it is, it must be liquid and readily accessible, right? You're gonna need that to pay your deposit. You're gonna need that to pay your opening and your closing costs. These are funds that you will have to have out of pocket, right? So as Maureen mentioned, the society will finance up to 97% on the purchase of a home, but legally in this country, the developers, the vendors can charge you anywhere between 5 and 10% of the selling price as a deposit. This is money that you're gonna have to pay them before you can go any further. The moment you make an offer on a property, your offer is accepted, they expect you to pay your deposit and sign your agreement for sale, right? So the first thing you're gonna wanna have is that money for that deposit. There's also the cost of doing a valuation report and a surveyor's ID report. I'm sure Maureen will speak more as to what those are, but just quickly, the valuation report basically tells you what the property that you're trying to buy is worth. Whereas the surveyor's ID report, it tells you if there are any issues with the property, because you know that the government has stipulations about building codes, right? So the surveyor's ID report tells us if the property falls within the regulations of the government. These are things that you're gonna have to consider paying for. You will want to engage an attorney. You will want to engage an attorney to look about your interests in this sale process. The vendors will have an attorney that will be responsible for preparing the documents for sale, but your attorney looks out for your interest. And if you are not in the field and you don't have the right guidance, that sale agreement can have some traps in there that later on down the line, you may cry. So a lot of persons will come to us and they won't want to engage an attorney because, oh, engaging an attorney is so expensive. But if you don't do that, the possibility exists that you may end up spending more down the line because you didn't quite understand the legal jargon that's outlined in your agreement for sale. Your attorney looks out for your interests. So that's an additional cost that you want to think about. And then wherever it is that you're going to get the loan from to purchase that property, there are going to be costs affiliated with processing such a loan, costs for insuring the property. It's a peril insurance, insures your property against damage. So if there's a flood or hurricane, we're in a We're in this region here where hurricanes are, they can pop up at any time during the season. If your property gets damaged from anything like that, your insurance will cover it. You have your life insurance that you also have to pay for. And then you have the bank's fees, their processing fees and the cost to register the mortgage. So you see where all of these things taken on an individual level, it may not look so daunting, but when you put them all together, it adds up. And so saving is very important. Saving towards this goal is very important. And when you're doing the saving toward this goal, you have to be intentional about it. Be intentional in your saving toward home ownership. You know that this is the goal that you have. You know that you want to achieve it in X amount of time. And so you sit down and you work it out with your financial advisor. Someone like me, someone like Maureen can give you guidance as to how to go about achieving it, how to go about investing the money so you get the best return on the investment to assist you in reaching this goal for home ownership. So we've already said, the first thing you want to do is prepare. And in preparing, we're speaking about the saving aspect of it, right? So in doing this, there are a few things that we have to consider. You want to take a good hard look at your income and your expenses. So many of us as Jamaicans, we get our paycheck and it goes up blips, gone through it and slip out of it and like rice water. And we don't know how that happened, what did I spend my money on this month? When you're being intentional about your goal of home ownership, every cent that you spend is important. You want to know where your money is going. And so to do this, we recommend that you utilize what we call a budget. Not a big word, but we don't like to hear it as Jamaicans. We don't want to hear about this budgeting business because no, this girl from VMBS is going to try and tell me how I should spend my hard-earned money. Right? And I just want to go and floss and I want to buy the latest shoes and the latest handbag. And she's coming to tell me about I need to budget my money. But if you don't, if you fail to budget, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And we're talking about prosperity. We're talking about home ownership. We're talking about building generational wealth, right? And so we have to be intentional about it. So we want you to create a budget. You want to take a look at your income and expenses. And the easiest way to do this is with a budget. If you are tech savvy, you can utilize an Excel sheet. You can use a book and pen and pencil. You're going to create a column with two sides. One side is your income, which is any money that you bring in, all of your earnings. So your salary, what you collect from overseas, your rental income, the money from the taxi that you have on the road, all incoming funds would be placed under the income column. And then under the expenses column now, you're going to put everything that you spend out on a monthly basis. And we're talking about the expenses that must be paid, right? Everything that you spend your money on. Now, there are some expenses that are a must on your income expense sheet. Things like light, things like water, things like tuition for your children, lunch money for them to go back to school and stuff like that, right? So you want to ensure that you record all of those. These are expenses that happen every month. So whether you earn or not, you have to pay your bills. Whether you earn or not, you have to eat and you have to take a taxi or buy gas to put in your car in order to go back to work another day. So these are all what we call unavoidable expenses. You must spend on these things. And then we want you to take a look at stuff that can occur. They do occur. You're sure it's going to happen, but it doesn't happen every month. So we're talking about school fees. We're talking about your insurance. We're talking about buying cooking gas for your house. Stuff like these are recurring expenses, but they don't happen every month. So you want to take a look at that, right? You want to put everything down under your expense column. Many of us don't like to budget because it makes us take a long, hard look at our spend. And if we were to do that, we would see that we're squandering a lot of money and we could be a lot richer today than we are because we didn't budget or we waste some of our money, right? And so we want you to take power. We want you to take control of this budget thing. Don't think of it in that way. Think of it as a way for you to control your spend, right? We want you to think about it as a way to control your spend. It helps you to plan out exactly what you're spending on, what you need to spend on, and it will help you to take a long, hard look. So when you put out your expenses for the month, if you realize that every month you spend $10,000 buying coffee from Starbucks, this can help you to change your outlook, right? Because you're gonna be like, wait, you know, when you're buying the one coffee from Starbucks in the morning for $400, it doesn't look that expensive, you know. But when you put that down on the budget for the end of the month, when the end of the month comes and you realize how much exactly you've spent on that, that could have probably helped you to buy a toaster oven for your new home. Just that money. And you could go down to the supermarket and purchase a nice bottle of Jamaican Mountain Peak and a bottle of creamer and make your own coffee. Right? So it helps you to control your spend. It helps you to see where you're putting your money and where you need to put your money, right? So it forces you to take a long, hard look. Now, I'm going to have to get personal with it because I too had this issue. It's something that I had to look at for myself. So one month I had this brilliant idea to write down everything that I spent money on, right? It was the shock probably of half my lifetime when I did that. Because when the month ended, I realized that, no, I really didn't need to be eating food on the road so many days, that it added up so much. It took so much out of my income. And then I'm realizing that sometimes when I feel sad, I just walk into a shoe store and I see one that say, hey, Lexi, and I go, okay, this will make me feel better. Let me just get this shoe. Right? It forced me to actually buy into VM's one less strategy. Right? So VM, we call this one less equals one more strategy, right? It's that one thing that you can do without in order to put that money towards something that you really want to achieve, right? So for me, it was not buying shoes every time I get paid or every time I feel sad or it looks cloudy outside. Retail therapy. I cut back on retail therapy. Now I recently bought 2 pairs of shoes because I needed new shoes for work, and that's it. I'm not buying any more for the rest of the year, when normally Christmas Sunday would have to mean at least 1 new shoe, right? So it means you're gonna have to take a look at the ugly things, the things that you don't want to see. This budget thing forces you to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. It forces you to see exactly where your spend is going. So I would encourage everyone within the reach of my voice right now to just take on that strategy for 1 month. Write down, keep a record of everything that you spend your money on for the month of December. Make that your goal for the end of the year. As you go toward making your New Year resolutions, let your final goal for the year be to write down everything that you spend money on in the month of December, just so you can have an idea of how much you're spending, right? And then you put that into your budget and you can look from there to see what's the thing that I don't need to be spending this money on every month, that I can put aside that money toward home ownership. And listen, it doesn't matter how small it is. I'm gonna get real with you now. We're all Jamaicans here. When I was growing up, my granny always said, one cocoa, full basket. And when that no work, she said, every mickle make a muckle. Sometimes I don't understand what she's talking about. But when you think about the concept, every $1 that you put down toward home ownership is $1 less that you have to stress about when you're ready to buy that house in 2022. Think about that, right? So now we're going back to our budget. We've listed our income and we've listed all of our expenses. Now we're going to do a simple math, subtract total expenses from total income. This is where it gets really real, because many of us will notice that we're now in a negative, which means we're spending far more than what we're earning. And this is never something we want to be doing, because now we have to go to Mass Joe to borrow $1,000 to put on the light bill. We have to go over to NCB to borrow because, oh, my child's tuition come up and I wasn't thinking about it. Like, you knew the child was in school, so you knew the tuition would come. If you're saving toward the goal, when the goal arrives, you will be in a better position, right? You can lean back on some savings, right? You can lean back on some savings when these things pop up. So we want you to take a good hard look. If your income expense gives you a negative when you take your expenses out of your income, you want to change things. You want to take a look again at the expense side of the balance sheet, and you want to remove things that are not necessary. And on the income side, you want to look around and see, is there anything else that I can do to increase my earnings? Is there a second job? Do I have a talent sitting on? Am I a good hairdresser? Like, can I braid hair? Oh, this is something I could do on the weekend to make an extra money. Can I do nails? This is something I could do after work to make some extra money, right? So you want to take a look at your resources and see if there are any other ways that you could be earning that you're not tapping into. And you want to take a look at the expenses to see if there's anything over on that side that you can cut back on. So we know that we have to pay the light bill, and we have to pay the water bill, and we have to buy food, but we don't have to eat steak every day. Some days we can eat a tin of mackerel just to cut back on the food bill, right? And then you want to do that to try and balance things out to ensure that the income and the expenses are working in tandem, and the one is not outweighing the other. All right. Wonderful. So when you subtract your income, your expenses from your income, you will have what we call a surplus or a shortfall or a deficit. The surplus means that you have additional savings, and the deficit means that you're using more than what you spend, which we've discussed before. Now, when you're listing out your expenses, the first thing you want to take out of your income. So this is a church group and we believe in tithing, right? Moderator, can you confirm for me? We believe in tithing?
Totally, totally.
All right, so
it's a kingdom
for this
principle on
group,
which we
the
live.
first thing we want to do is take out our 10% for the kingdom, right? We don't want to rob God, because when he's blessing us, he doesn't hold back. So we don't want to hold back on him, right? So you take out your 10% for your tithes, and then you pay yourself. Yes, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you work hard, and you deserve to be paid just like everybody else. So the same way how you take out lunch money for the kids and you take out JPS money and water commission money, we want you to also take out your money. So set aside some savings, 10%, 20%. If you can do 50%, do 50%. Put aside your savings. So you take out your tithes, you take out your savings, and then you go about looking after your expenses that you need to handle on a month-to-month basis. Anything that's left after that, I consider that additional savings, not money to go and floss with your friends, not money to buy new shoes or new bag if you don't need it, but additional saving. So you can put that aside in the additional fund. So if anything happens, rainy day hits, you have something to rock back on, right? So remember, we're talking now saving, saving, saving. Yes, that is all I'm here to talk to you guys about tonight, is saving, 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 right? And in doing the saving, we want to ensure that we follow our budget, right? Follow our budget. Ensure that you have tailored your budget and your saving. Remember, we said that we're going to be intentional about our saving, so we know what we're saving toward. We're saving toward a specific goal. Now, VM, as a group of companies, we have a whole suite of products to assist you in doing this. My favorite products that I have to introduce to you before I stop speaking tonight is the iSave for Home. Now, we're passionate about home ownership at VM. We believe in financial independence across all spectrums. We're not talking about only those who were born with the proverbial gold spoon in their mouth. We're talking about those who are coming from grassroots, who believe that they have nothing and will have nothing. We believe that you can and will have something. And so the iSave for Home is a product that's specifically tailored toward helping you to save for home ownership. This product, it's a fixed deposit account that we will establish for you, and it forces you to save a fixed amount. I'm saying force because you must save it, right? It's a fixed amount every month for a period of 12 months, right? And then we can roll it over to another 12 months if you're not ready to purchase the home. So the minimum that you can save on a monthly basis under the iSave for Home is $5,000. And that's for the month. So think about it. If you save a little money each week, that $5,000 is easy. It doesn't matter how much you're earning. If you put aside a little bit each week, doing that $5,000 per month is very easy. The product is on a fixed instrument, so you will also be earning a little interest on your investment while you're saving for home ownership. And if you have a product like this with us, it gives you certain benefits with it when you're ready to do your mortgage, which Maureen would assist you with doing your mortgage. She, under this, using the iSave for Home, if you have an iSave for Home and you're purchasing a property from Maureen, who will definitely give the business to VMBS, you're looking at a reduction in your valuation costs. You're looking at premium rates for your processing fees as well as your mortgage interest rate, right? So that saving product, it's my favorite. Like every time I do a presentation, I spend most of my time talking about the iSave for Home. So just because the minimum is $5,000 doesn't mean that $5,000 is all you can save. You can open this account with a lump sum, and then you can save anywhere from $5,000 up to as much as you want to save monthly toward the home ownership. Just know that it's a fixed amount. So ensure that it's a figure that you're comfortable with. Right? So don't come and say, oh, you know, Alexia, I want to do 50,000 per month, you know, and then after 3 months, you realize that 50,000 is too much for you. Can't manage the other expenses, right? We don't want you to do that because we don't want you to overexert yourself, but ensure that whatever figure you choose is comfortable at a minimum of $5,000 per month. We also have a regular iSave product, which allows you to save anywhere from $1,000 per month under the same 1-year fixed instrument. But the iSave for Home is geared specifically toward home ownership. So earlier you would have heard me talk about your children's education, like tuition and your insurance for your car. These are costs that come up every month. You don't need to pay them every month, but they do come up every year, ever so often, right? If you utilize the regular iSave product, it can help you to save toward those goals so that when they come, you don't have to scramble as to where you're going to get the tuition from, right? You just take the tuition amount, all right? The tuition is $12,000 for the year. That's $1,000 per month. You know what? Let me open an iSave for this tuition. And you put down $1,000 every month. At the end of the year, you easily draw that full $12,000 to pay for the tuition, as opposed to saying, oh my God, what is this? Where am I going to find $12,000 from now, right? So that's 2 products down. The iSave for Home, geared specifically toward home ownership. The regular iSave, geared toward any particular goal. It's a 1-year fixed instrument as well, so you will also be earning a little interest on your investment. We also then have what we call the iGain product. This is another fixed product instrument that we have at VM. And the minimum investment under this one is $10,000. So you can do it. It's one lump sum payment that you put down, and it's fixed over a particular period of time, anywhere from 3 months to a year, and it will automatically roll over. If the minimum is 10,000, doesn't mean that you have to open it for 10,000. If you have 10 million, I will gladly take it and put it there for you on that fixed instrument over a year, so you can earn some interest on it. Now, earlier, somebody had asked Maureen if the fund management, the real estate fund can be used to save toward home ownership. So because it's a medium to long-term investment tool, it's dependent on how soon you're intending to purchase that we would recommend this product. It's also done on a yearly basis. So yes, it can definitely be used toward purchasing your home. Just know that it's done on the yearly basis. So once you're locked in, it would be at the end of that 1-year period that you would be able to pull the funds in order to do that. This product does have a higher yield than the products that I would have spoken to you about before, because of the risk associated with same. So because you're investing in a pool of real estate, whatever happens on the market will impact it. So if it goes up, the more it goes up, the more you earn, right? Whereas the I Save for Home is a fixed earning amount over a fixed period of time. If you are in fact interested in learning more about the fund management investment, I'll be happy to put you on to one of our wealth advisors who'll be able to go into the minute details as to what it entails for you. And then, of course, we have regular saving account products. If you are good at saving and you want to have full control and autonomy over your money as to when you can pull it, a regular saving will do just as well for your saving for your home. The reason I encourage the I Save for Home, however, is because the interest yield on it is higher, and also it pushes you to do the saving. Like, you can't get fed up one month and say, you know what, I'm not gonna pay this I saved in. It's something that you know you have to do. So it's something that you would ensure that it's done on a month-to-month basis. And I believe with that said, I have come to the end of my presentation on how to save for your home ownership goals. Back to you, our dear moderator.
Thank you so much, Miss Alexia Campbell. Lots and lots of notes. I know we're piling up the questions to ask a little bit later on, but I did take some notes of my own. You know, never go to a presentation and not take notes. I noted that you said, make sure that when you're saving towards your own home, you must have 10 to 20% of the cost of the property, that's liquid stuff, readily accessible, readily available. Am I right?
Yes, because
You advised
once you find that property, that property and you say, moderator, I'm interested in buying your property, you know, and moderator says, yes, Alexia, I'm willing to sell you my property. We've entered into an agreement to purchase the property, and they're going to be ready for that deposit immediately. If you're not ready with your deposit, you're not ready to buy.
Yeah. Get an attorney, even although it might be an expensive activity, it makes sense in the long run. Be intentional in your goal toward owning a home. It doesn't make sense to say, you know, I really need to get a home, but and then you don't go after it intentionally. Be purposeful.
Correct.
Look at your income and expenses, the unavoidable expenses. Make sure you take care of those. The basic everyday expenses. Make sure. Also, take stock, be disciplined. Don't bother with the binge spending. Did you see me closing my eyes and hiding myself and you said buying food on the road every day? You didn't see me? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Trust me,
that was my corn.
If we sit down and we pencil out how much we spend every month buying food on the road, oh my God. You stepped
on my corn. You stepped on my corn right there. But another one I like, which I have been doing, is where you said, just take a stock of yourself. Well, I made a note of that. Look at your skills and your talent. Sometimes you're sitting on a potential stream of income. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I did. Over the years, I've been doing proofreading and editing. I've been using my voice. I have been tutoring without getting paid. And then I said to myself, you know, I took stock. I did an assessment, and then I said, hey, listen, I could make some money from this.
Yes.
And then I have been doing that because it's something that I have been doing and just sitting on the talent, the skill over the years. So there you have it, guys. That is something. Just take a stock of yourself. See what your skills are, your talents, and explore the possibility of earning from that. One final thing before I go back to Deaconess Maureen. You did mention you were going through about dividing the funds, and of course, naturally, the 10% tithe. And then you said your own spending, pay yourself. Now, we've learned about the 5 jars, but let me hear from you. How much would you advise us to pay ourselves? Because some persons might take a huger percentage than they can afford to take. So there must be a guide.
Yeah. So the truth of the matter is, I deal with persons from all walks of life. And the truth is that in our Jamaican society today, there are many persons who are earning minimum wage. There are persons who are barely earning a little above minimum wage. And so for us to say to them, oh, you know, you should be saving a strict 30%, I believe that's a bit unrealistic sometimes, because even though we want you to save first and spend later, the truth of the matter is you must eat and you have to pay your light and your water bill and your rent. Those are necessities, right? So it wouldn't behoove you to put aside all of the money under saving and then not be able to pay your landlord, because then he kicks you out and you have nowhere to live. So we have to be realistic about the goals for the saving. And so normally I would recommend anywhere between 10 to 20%. If you can easily save 20%, I recommend that you do that. But if 20% is too hard for you, then definitely minimum of 10% saving each month.
Great, thank you so much. Persons are asking if they could get the contact numbers for both of you. We'll decide on that and we'll let them know in just a moment. So we have the questions here, but let me just ask Deaconess Maureen to come again. And as soon as she's finished with her second presentation, then we'll take all the questions and both of you will answer based on your expertise. So Deaconess Maureen, thank you so much, Lady Alexia.
My pleasure.
Perfectly simple and straightforward there. Bless you. All right. So Deaconess Maureen, you're going to be talking now about mortgage and home ownership. So please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Lady Alexia. I enjoyed that presentation. Thank you for coming. All right. So I'm going to talk about purchasing a home. If I can get this slide to open and share. I don't know what's going on tonight. I think I have it here. Yes. So let me share screen. Yes, here we go. Purchasing a home. So I have 5 steps here to purchasing a home. The first step is, yes, get pre-approved. And this is prior to shopping for a home. So it's important to know how much you can afford, what type of down payment to budget for, how much your monthly payment will be, as well as what type of loan program you'll use to finance this property. And very important, you need to get pre-approved prior to shopping for a home. A personal consultation with a trusted mortgage professional should address all your initial loan approval questions, as well as uncover any potential challenges that may complicate the entire transaction. All right, so step 2, assemble your buying team. The home buying process has multiple steps, participating parties, and potential challenges that can be overcome with the right team by your side. Your attorney, your mortgage broker, your real estate agent, appraiser, surveyor, and lender all have important roles to play. Buying a home is literally a team sport. Since there are so many tasks, important timelines, documents, and responsibilities that need attention. Step 3, purchase offer submitted. Assuming that you've already received a mortgage pre-approval and have a good standing of the type of property you're qualified to purchase, your agent will submit your purchase offer to a listing agent or seller. Once you receive an accepted offer, the due diligence period starts. A series of timelines for final mortgage approval, appraisal, inspection, and other requirements which will be stated in the terms of the contract. Step 4 is paperwork. At this point, documentations are gathered according to requests by your buying team. These include documentation for lenders, requested by your mortgage broker, paperwork for sellers requested by your attorney. Once the mortgage is approved and registered on the title, the funds are disbursed to the seller, and then you move to closing. A successful closing requires all of the team players to come together at the same time with the same agenda on the same date, with numbers and figures that match. Once a transaction is closed successfully, you are a proud owner of your new home. All right, so I'm going to look at what is a deposit and what are closing costs. So a deposit is the amount of money you pay upfront towards the full cost of a property whilst your mortgage covers the rest. There are usually minimum limits to meet, which are a percentage of the property value or the purchase price, whichever is lower. The more money you save for a deposit, the less you need to borrow and therefore repay with interest. Nevertheless, there are different ways to assist with the requirement of a deposit. Closing costs are the fees and charges in excess of the purchase price of the property due at closing of a real estate transaction. Both buyers and sellers may be subjected to various closing costs. Closing costs may include fees related to the origination and underwriting of mortgage loan, bank processing fees, government fees, taxes, insurance premiums, as well as attorney fees. Throughout your home purchase, third parties such as real estate attorneys and your mortgage lender have performed services. Closing costs include the fees that these professionals, as well as others, charge for these services to finalize the real estate transaction and your home loan. Of course, do not allow these costs and fees to deter you from seeking information and buying. Speak with your qualified advisor who can work with you. Right, so I'm going to look at individual versus joint ownership. So individual ownership means a single person owns the entire property. Joint ownership, 2 or more persons own the property. Some persons have decided to go the route of joint ownership for several reasons, including their inability to purchase on their own. In this case, the law has put in place the right of survivorship, which is joint tenants and tenants in common. So joint tenants have a right of survivorship. This means if A and B own land as joint tenants, and if either A or B dies, then the interest of the deceased joint tenant automatically passes to the survivor or survivors. While tenants in common, a tenant in common does not possess a right of survivorship. When a tenant in common dies, then his interest in the land passes under the terms of his will, or if he dies leaving no will, his interest is distributed under the Interstate Estates and Property Charges Act. The tenant in common has an undivided share and interest in the property. He has an equal right to the possession of the whole property, but not a right to possess any part exclusively. A tenant in common may deal with his share of the property as he or she sees fit. A tenant in common may also hold unequal shares in the property. Therefore, if no share is stated, then the presumption is equal shares. That means 50-50. So basically, if you decide to buy a property, say with a sibling, and some persons are usually concerned about, who invests more. So if I'm buying with my sister and I invest 80%, my sister invested 20%, we can put it on the title, 80-20. So we would choose tenants in common, 80-20. Hope that part is clear. All right, so age. As long as you're 18 years or older, you are eligible to apply for a mortgage loan. You're expected to repay your mortgage by age 70. This means if you're 60 years of age, you have 10 years to repay your mortgage, and as such, you're eligible for a 10-year mortgage. If you're 30 years of age, it means you're eligible for a 40-year mortgage. Okay, why isn't my slide moving? Okay, so locating a property. As soon as you have been pre-qualified, or pre-approved for a mortgage. Find the right real estate agent and begin house hunting. Real estate sales agents will prospect for potential buyers and represent sellers during the home sale transaction. They determine clients' needs, then show them homes that meet those needs. A pre-qualification letter or pre-approval helps to identify some of those needs along with the information gathered from the potential buyer. The agent will locate properties, take the potential buyer to view, present purchase offers, and basically ensure a quick and seamless transaction between buyers and sellers. Requirement to make an offer. So you found a house you want and you're ready to buy. You're about to make an offer, which can be daunting, whether you've done it before or it's your first time buying. Purchase offers are required documents. Purchase offers and required documents are requested by the real estate agent to facilitate the submission of an offer. Your agent will assist you in completing the documents, offer form, such as the offer form, and submit this along with your pre-qualification letter to the seller. Okay, mortgage options. Finding a mortgage lender involves more than simply looking for a good interest rate. A mortgage broker will guide you through the process in a proficient manner from beginning to end. Your mortgage broker will deal with the institution directly and make the process easier and less stressful. Mortgages are available through the NHD, banks, and building societies. So I know most of us are aware of the NHD. So let's look at NHD. The NHD offers a low interest rate to contributors who wish to build, buy, repair, or improve their houses, or wish to buy or build on lots. So who qualifies for a loan at the NHD? To qualify for an NHD loan, you must be currently contributing to the trust. Have at least 52 weekly contributions, of which 13 must have been made in the last 26 weeks, just before the date of your loan application. Overseas voluntary contributors must have paid 2 years of contributions, of which 1 year must be paid in the period leading up to the date of the application. And of course, your qualified persons have to be earning an income which allows you to repay the loan. Types of loans available. At the NHD, a variety of loans are offered. Non-homeowners loan, and this is for first-time buyers. Homeowners loan, if you own a home but has never received a benefit. Loans to purchase land, loans to build on land. So I have a note here that NHD offers 100% financing on properties, or I should say, scheme units that they construct. So if you're an NHD contributor and your benefit is 6.5, but you're buying somewhere for 8 million, what that means is that if you're buying one of their units that they have constructed, as long as your income can support it, they'll finance it 100%. It's an open market, which means anything other than an NHD scheme, then they lend 95%. So how to apply for an NHD loan? You can call or visit NHD office to be evaluated in order to be ready to access your NHD benefit. Please note that the NHD benefit can be used in conjunction with or a bank under the joint financing mortgage program between the NHD and the building society. Now, under this arrangement, once the property costs exceed that of the benefit, an additional funding is being sought. The mortgage is processed at the mortgage institution. So basically what that is saying is that if you're buying a property for 10 million, your benefit is 6.5, and you've deposited, say 10%, 1 million. That difference, because it's an open market property, NHD won't finance everything. But that difference, you would need additional financing, say for instance, from a mortgage institution. So instead of going to the NHD, you would just go directly, no, come directly to me. You just go directly to the mortgage institution and everything will be processed under the joint financing mortgage program. Now, what will happen? That portion of the mortgage, that 6.5, will be at that applicable rate that NHD is offering to you. And then we'll have another account with the VMBS rate. All right, so what are the interest rates? Interest rates on a loan, it depends on your income at the time of the application for the loan, and it ranges from 0 to 4%. All right, so let's look at home grants. What is the home grant? The home grant is a special offer of up to 2.5 million to NHD contributors now earning less than $15,000 per week and who do not yet own a home. The grant may be combined with an NHD loan to purchase land or residential property or to build. And that's the grant. Who can apply for the grant? All NHD contributors now earning less than $15,000 per week may apply, so long as they satisfy the following conditions. They must have contributed to the NHD for a minimum of 7 years. They must have made at least 52 weekly contributions. 13 of those contributions must have been made during the 26-week period leading up to the date of application. Applicants must not already own a home and should not have received a previous loan from the NHD. Applicants must have proof that they are ready to utilize the grant, and 2 eligible contributors may co-apply under this program. So I guess if you have a husband and a wife buying a property, you both are earning less than 15,000 or less per week, both of you can apply for this grant, which will be used towards the purchasing of your property. So it's not a loan, it's a grant that is given to you. Oh, there are a few exceptions. The following persons are not eligible for a grant, even if they satisfy the conditions above. Persons who have joined or co-applied with other NHD contributors to take up previous loans. Contributors whose spouses are homeowners, whether or not their names appear on the title. So if your husband owns a home and you're earning 15,000 or less and you've never accessed, it means that you can't apply for this grant. However, if a spouse owns a residential lot, so that's land only, then the grant may be accessed for construction. Right, so let's look at obtaining an eligibility letter. So of course, you may hear the term pre-approval, eligibility, pre-qualification. They are one and the same, and are used interchangeably. So basically, it is a letter that the vendor requires as proof that the buyer is eligible to access financing to purchase a property being sold. At the NHD, an eligibility letter can be obtained at their office for applicants requesting information to confirm their loan limit. Once all the documents that they ask for are provided, this letter is provided on the same day, at the same time, and carries an expiration date of 6 months. To apply for a pre-qualification letter through the Building Society or bank, it may be done through your mortgage broker. Please note that if it is a joint financing loan with the NHD. Only one letter is required, and that is done by the mortgage broker or the mortgage company. In this case, the applicant will need to complete an income and expense form, the same income and expense that Alexia was talking about. Submit proof of income in the form of job letter and/or payslips and your credit report. For international applicants, we would need the same documents: completed income and expense form, proof of income, credit report, along with your tax returns. So let's look at credit report. A credit report is a record of the borrower's credit history from a number of sources, including banks, credit card companies, collection agencies, and governments. A borrower's credit score is the result of a mathematical algorithm applied to a credit report and other sources of information to predict future delinquency. When a customer submits an application for credit from a bank, credit card company, or a store, their information is forwarded to the credit bureau. Now, these information, they're gathered. The records are then used by lenders to determine an individual credit worthiness. That is, determining an individual's ability and track record of repaying a debt. Credit reporting is new in Jamaica, as I had said before. And so this means that mortgage institution does not rely totally on information only from the credit report. So do not let a bad debt deter you from stepping out in faith and moving forward with home ownership. So in Jamaica, we have two main credit bureaus. There's Credit Info and CRIF Information Bureau Jamaica. Every Jamaican over the age of 18 is entitled to receive a free copy of their credit report each calendar year. This report can be accessed online. So what this means is that we can keep track of what is going on with us. From my experience, I really see where persons just come at the appointed time, ready to buy this place, they find the place. When you pull the report, there are all sorts of stuff on it, things that they have taken care of many years ago. So it's important to follow. If you know you clear a loan with NCB, you check your credit to ensure that they have updated the credit bureau. For overseas applicants, we accept credit reports from either Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. I am almost there. I'm going to look at benefits of using a mortgage broker and a real estate agent when you're buying. All right, so who is a mortgage broker? A mortgage broker acts as an intermediary who brokers mortgage loans on behalf of individuals or businesses. Traditionally, banks and other lending institutions have sold their own products. As markets for mortgages have become more competitive, the role of the mortgage broker has become more popular. So benefits of using a mortgage broker. We work for the client, not the bank. So we are contracted to the bank to provide them with quality business. However, we work for our client. It's more convenient, it basically eliminates the back and forth with the bank. You get access to more products and comparisons with different mortgage providers. You get expert financial advice. You get help with paperwork. You have access to broker outside of banking hours. You won't have to handle the application. Everything is done by the broker, and you just get an approval letter signed. So, real estate agent. A real estate agent acts as the middleman between two parties seeking to buy or sell a property. Real estate agents have the skill and expertise to either market the property and or sell for the best possible price and conditions, or to look for property that suits a client's need and buy it at the best price possible with the most favorable terms. The benefits of using an agent when buying a property: save money on your home purchase. So we can help you avoid paying too much for the house. We can use negotiation strategies to get you a better deal and ensure you're fulfilling all contractual obligations, so you don't end up in a legal or financial hot water. Negotiate up a price. Your agent knows the local market better than you do, so they can let you know when it's reasonable to push for a better deal. Keep the purchase on track. There are a lot of deadlines to keep track of in home purchase. Your agent will make sure you're fulfilling your end of the deal, which can help you avoid costly missteps. Gain access to listings faster. Agents are plugged in at all times on what's on the market. Agents can spot new listings faster than you can. Another benefit is networking with other agents. There are many reasons why a listing might not yet be on the MLS. Perhaps the seller is still completing renovations, or they're waiting until the holidays are over to put their house on the market. Through our connection with our local agents, your agent may have knowledge about homes coming on the market soon before they show up on the MLS. And the final benefit is the ability to spot red flags. Because agents tour so many homes and attend numerous open houses, we know the warning sign for expensive issues like failing roof, water damage. This knowledge can help you avoid a home that's more of a fixer-upper than you are looking for. That's it for me. I hope that you all enjoy the presentation, and I look forward to your questions. Sister Thelma?
Oh, that's it. All right. So engrossed, so engrossed. Thank you so much, Deaconess Marina. The good thing is you'll notice, everyone, that she has her number there, her email address and her number. And of course, that is good for us because just in case we're not able to get all the questions in, to have all your questions answered, then you'll have a contact number. So there it is. I would expect that you would do a screenshot of that one. And that's 862-7225-876, 862-7225. And the email is mroddockreed@gmail.com. Just get your phones out, get your camera, take a picture of that right away, please, everyone. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask Alexia Campbell, can you give your business number, please, so that they can get in touch with you as well? Thank you. And then we're going to get ready now to just ask the questions that you have posted here. Alexia Campbell, can you give us your number, please? Your contact number, your email address, so that they'll be able to get in touch with you. All right. I'm not seeing it.
If she dropped off, would you like me to share it?
All
I have
right,
her
so
number.
it's, you have her number? Yes, go ahead and share that, please.
876-392-2572.
876-392?
2572.
2572. And her email is alexia.campbell whoa, that's a lot. What we could do is just write it. I will just write it here for everyone to see. Alexia, that's alexia.campbell at alexia.campbell at MYVM, M as in Matt, Y as in yo-yo, V as in very, M again as in Matt, group, group.com. All right, so that's Alexia Campbell's email. I've written it there on Facebook, so you could go ahead and make a note of that. Thank you so very much. Now for the questions quickly. You may go ahead and stop the sharing, Deaconess Maureen. So question 1, does a mortgage broker help search for homes as well? Quickly, who will take that one? I'll just shoot the questions and either you, Maureen Ruddock, or Alexia Campbell, whoever the question suits, you can go ahead with it. Does a mortgage broker help search for homes as well?
Oh Lord, I'm sorry if I'm confusing you, but so the mortgage broker deals with financing, getting financing. The mortgage broker doesn't do the real estate agent's work. However, I am both a mortgage broker and a real estate agent. So what I do is try to find properties for my clients, but generally it's two separate work, but I do both. So I can help with both.
All right. And of course, they have your number. Thank you so much for that. I'd like one of you to really assure this seemingly young person. She says, realistically though, you'll spend 2 to 3 years to save and get to that target of 5 to 10%. In that time, your age is going up and your mortgage rate is also increasing. Millennials want to own a home and own it now. So think about it. I save for home at a minimum of 5,000 weekly, 20,000 per month. That is only 240,000 at the end of the year. So she's weeping. Can somebody give her some advice regarding a young person based on the amount that you're expecting that the young person would save after a time? But she says time is going, and as she saves and continues and it accumulates, then so is the mortgage rate.
You know, that's actually a really good point. But if you notice throughout, you know, my little presentation, I kept on saying, don't let the deposit, closing, things like that deter you from seeking the advice. Now, for me, I have done many a mortgage for young persons. Now, it is not advice that you really borrow for your deposit, but the option is there, especially for young people. Meaning, one, we look at what we call a debt service ratio. So that's the ratio of your debt to your income. Now, if you are a young person and you don't have much expense, and when we look at it holistically, you can afford to borrow that deposit along with paying your mortgage. That is also an option. It is not always advised. It's best to save, but there are options. So just speak with your mortgage advisor. I don't know if Alexia has anything to add.
Yes, I agree with Maureen. It can be daunting, and I've seen many persons become discouraged when they hear the figures that they will have to come up with. But there are ways and means. Each person's situation is different. So the mortgage process, it's an individual experience. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. And as a result of that, what may work for you, what may work for Maureen may not work for me. And so it's important for you to have that discussion. You need to have the discussion with somebody like Maureen, somebody like me, who have the know-how of how the process works. And we can look at you holistically as an individual, all your expenses, all your income, and we can give you the best way to reach this goal. It's not an impossible dream. It doesn't matter how much you're earning. The dream is still reachable. The way we go about reaching the dream may be different, but the end result remains the same. So don't be discouraged, whoever you are that had that comment. Please do not give up on this goal. It's a dream. Many of us don't reach the dream immediately. I work at VMBS. I work at the institution that does the mortgage, and I have not yet bought my property for varied reasons. So first, you think you can't afford it, then you save and save and save, and you can afford it, and you can't find the one that's right for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all process, and it's not going to come through immediately in some cases. You just have to be patient with yourself, be patient with the process, and trust your advisors. So use trusted persons. You can go to Maureen and ask your questions. You can call me and ask your questions. We're happy to guide you along the way.
Yeah, I just heard a number of persons say, oh, Alexa hasn't got hers yet. Oh, okay then, so there's hope for me. And you did say
precisely, and I
goal.
work at VM, and I'm being intentional about the goal. It's just that some things take time, and you have to put things in place. When you're in a certain position and you look at yourself holistically, which is why we're encouraging you to do this from now. Don't just wait until you're ready to buy the house to say, oh, I'm too heavily indebted, I have too much loans. Try and work on those from now, man. Don't worry, the goal will come. The dream will be, it will come. Though it tarry. Though it's tarry, it will
Thank you for that. Be intentional in goal toward owning your own home. Here's another one. This one is directed to you, Lady Alexa. It says, you said we should have our own attorney, but isn't one provided for you from the builder whom you're purchasing from? And wouldn't you already be paying towards the company's attorney?
Okay, so the attorney, the vendor's attorney, or the builder's attorney, as you've said, the truth of the matter is they are there to represent their client's interests. So some of the interests may be aligned, but not all of them are aligned. I'll give you a particular case. I had a client a couple months ago. She wanted to purchase this property. The vendor's attorney is giving her only 90 days in which to turn the sale. Now, ideally, a sale can be closed within 90 days. It can be closed in less or it can be more. So most attorneys would push for a 120-day closure time, because what it means is that if you select a 90-day closure and anything happens that causes the loan to not be paid out in 90 days, there is a cost to you as the buyer. Now, if you don't have an attorney, you're just going to have to accept whatever terms the vendor's lawyer puts in the sale agreement, which they're putting in terms and conditions to protect their client. So we recommend that you get your own attorney to peruse that document and guide you along the process. They can answer any questions that you have relating to the legal aspects of the sale, and they can ensure that the sale agreement doesn't have anything in there to trip you up or anything in there that goes against your best wishes. So really, yes, the vendor's attorney does cover some aspects, and yes, you will be paying some funds toward the vendor's attorney, because once they prepare the documentation for sale, which is the sale agreement, etc., they charge a fee to prepare these documents. This fee is borne by you as the purchaser and by me as the vendor. So both of us in tandem pay that fee, but you don't pay the vendor's lawyer fee. You only pay the attorney's half costs to prepare the documentation for sale. So no, you're not actually paying the vendor's attorney twice. You're paying for the sale agreement, which they've drafted. So you pay half the cost, the vendor pays half the cost, but your attorney is there to protect your interests. If anything happens during the sale that would cause you to legally, you can lose money. You could do a surveyor's ID report on the property after you've paid your deposit and find out that there's a big old breach, right? Meaning the house sits on the neighbor's land. That's a big problem. If you don't have an attorney to handle that for you, you could end up losing a lot of money. Whereas if you do have an attorney representing your interests, they know how to go about the court system. They know how to deal with the vendor's attorney to ensure that at the end of the day, you don't come out the worst for wear. You don't end up with a property that has this big problem that you can't, now you have to sink more money into this property to fix this issue that shouldn't have been your problem. So really things like these and the jargon that is used to prepare the agreement for sale, most people don't understand. If you're not in the field, you wouldn't really understand what you're signing to. So if you don't have an attorney to represent that interest, to explain the terms and conditions to you, you may be putting yourself at a disadvantage. You may be giving yourself a disservice. So while it's not mandated by the society, we strongly recommend that you get an attorney to represent you in the sale process.
All right, I'm sure she got that. Deaconess Maureen, can you just put your contact details again on our Facebook page? Somebody's asking for that. All right, a question for you again, Alexia Campbell. The interest rate of 0 to 4% for joint financing, is this for NHT or VMBS?
Okay,
I
so
think
the
that was
0
me.
to 4% it's NHT's portion of the loan that would be charged at that rate of interest. No other financial institution can compete with NHT where rates are concerned. So you would enjoy the NHT portion of the loan at NHT's rate of interest, which is 0 to 4%, dependent on how much you are earning, your age, and so on and so forth. They use that information to determine which spectrum of the scale you fall on. But on the building society side, for the first-time homeowner, we're currently offering an interest rate of 6.95%. So if the property that you're purchasing, say you need a loan of 8 million, then the 6.5 from NHT would come at NHT's rate, ceiling of 4%, and the difference would come at VM's rate of 6.95.
All righty. Does VMBS work with NHT in terms of obtaining additional funds for mortgage if what NHT is offering is not enough?
Yes, so we
Yes.
proudly have the joint finance mortgage program. I believe Maureen would have mentioned that earlier. It's where you access the loan through VM only, but NHT would transfer your benefit to VMBS. So we would join with them to give you a bigger loan than the 6.5. Remember, I just gave the example of NHT's 6.5 being charged at 4%, for example, and the next 1.5 from VM being charged at 6.95. That comes under what we call the joint finance mortgage program, which Maureen would be able to give you more detail on if you so desire.
All right.
Maura, I don't know if you want to jump in here.
Now? You'll do that now, Deaconess Maureen, or when they get in touch with you. Can you?
They can get in touch with me. But basically, Alexia just give information and really what it is. It's once you're getting additional, once a property is more than your NHT benefit, the difference, you can borrow from another institution, but VMBS has a joint financing mortgage program along with the NHT. So everything is just done at VMBS.
Can you explain, Deaconess Maureen, a little bit more about the closing costs?
So the closing cost basically is costs that are incurred in getting this mortgage. It varies from, it includes your government fees, which is like stamp duty, registration to register the mortgage. So if you're purchasing a home, once you have to visit the stamp office, you have to pay registration fee and stamp duty. And of course, an attorney has to do it. So basically, after your mortgage is approved, your file is assigned to an attorney on the bank's panel. And this attorney would register the mortgage. So these fees will be paid in the overall closing cost when you get to the mortgage. And when the loan is approved, that portion is sent to the attorney for them to deal with that aspect. Now, there is a second part of the closing cost that is called prepayable expenses. So that would cover things like insurance, which would be life insurance, property insurance, if you choose to do that upfront and have your mortgage minimal. So the monthly payment consists of your principal and interest, your life insurance, and your mortgage insurance. However, VMBS gives you the option of paying everything once per year, allowing your mortgage to remain at a certain, with just principal and interest. Or if you can't come up with all that closing costs, you have the option of putting it in the monthly payment. And of course, there's processing fee to process the mortgage.
Yeah, thank you so much. Does the student loan affect your credit score? And does the spouse credit score affect your ability to get a mortgage? I don't think we had clarified that one earlier.
All right, so once you have a monthly debt, a loan or credit card, it only affects your score if you're not paying it properly. If you're paying it properly, it is added as a debt. So it reduces the amount of money that you can borrow. I don't know if that's clear. Is that clear?
I hope that is clear for the person who asked. Does student loan affect your credit score? Also, does spouse credit score affect your ability to get a mortgage?
It does. It does. If you're borrowing together. So if a husband
Okay.
and a wife, and the wife has excellent score and the husband doesn't, it does affect it. But as Alexia just explained, each situation varies. So it depends on what happened, you know. We can have that conversation, look at what the issue is. Sometimes if the spouse with the greater income has an excellent credit score, it will be looked at more favorably. Understand? But everything is on an individual basis, really.
All right, my brother, hope that clarifies your questions. Another one here from YouTube. How can someone who is not qualified with VMBS get money for a deposit? Alexia Campbell?
Say that again. How can someone who does not qualify
With VMBS get money for a deposit?
I'm not sure if I'm quite clear on the question. Is it a case where you are qualified somewhere else and you're asking us to lend you funds to cover the deposits?
Answer it both ways. It comes
All right.
from YouTube.
So, okay. All right. So if you are pre-qualified for a loan, say at NCB, and you wish to take an unsecured facility from us to cover your deposit, it can be done. However, the debt service ratio, which Maureen would have mentioned earlier, speaks to the percentage of your income that we will accept for coverage of debt, right? For the society, it's 45%, which means that no more than 45% of your monthly gross income should go towards servicing loans. And that's inclusive of any loan you're seeking from the society at this time. So once the debt service ratio can carry the loan, yes, we will lend you that money to cover the deposit for the property. If it is a case where you did a pre-qualification assessment with VM and you were not eligible for a loan, then I'm not sure how you would need a deposit. You would need funding for a deposit. Is it that you have cash to cover the rest? But if you have cash to cover it, then you would need a loan to pay the deposit. So that's the best way I can answer that question without more information. But please feel free to give me a call tomorrow and we can discuss it.
And remind them of your number again, please.
That's 392-2572.
All right. If you already own a home and still paying mortgage, but would like to own another home, would NHT give you another loan, or would you have to visit a financial institution?
Well, NHT has a homeowner's loan that you will be qualified for 15 years after you've got the first loan. And that's only, I believe, 2.5 million. So if you need more than that, you would definitely have to call me.
What is the percentage returns on the I saved for home account? Is that for Alexia?
Oh, wow. You're asking
right.
me the one that I don't have the ready answer for. And I know this, you know, I know this.
It will come back to you. Maybe you
All
can
right,
go to this one. You have
Once
it?
it comes to me, I'll tell you.
All right. How about this one? Could you remind me of the 3 products you suggested? That's for you, Alexia. The 3 products you suggested. I can't
Okay,
look
so
there.
that's the iSave, the regular iSave, saving toward any goal, the iSave for home, which saves specifically toward home ownership, and the iGain, which is also saving for any purpose. And of course, you have your regular savings.
All right, good. And the other one hasn't come back to you as yet?
Nope, I'm looking for it now on my system.
Do
I
you
don't know where
facilitate
it
buying property overseas? While you look for that one, we can just ask these questions. Do you facilitate buying property overseas?
No,
Not at this time, no.
the collateral has to be local.
Yeah.
All right, that's a quick one. How much is the home grant and what percentage is interest paid on?
Well, it's a grant, so it's free money. Well, no, we're paying for it, but it's a grant. So it's given to you to help.
Is there a specific
Yeah.
amount?
2.5 million.
That's what they're
Per
asking. How much is
person.
it? And
Per
the interest rate?
There's no interest because it's given
The
to you,
grant.
a grant.
Right.
Mhm.
Good. So it's 2.5
5 million, 2.5.
million. All
Mhm.
right. Did we ask this one already? They're coming fast. Does BMBS work with NHT in terms of obtaining additional funds for mortgage? If
Yes.
yeah, we got that one already. Here's another one. I'm currently a VMBS savings account holder. Do I have to open a different account if I want to start an iSave for Home account? Or the regular savings account can be transferred to an iSave for Home account? Lady Alexia?
Is she frozen? Or
I think she's
from what I know,
frozen.
you have to open a new account. You definitely have to, because it's a fixed deposit account, the regular account. Well, what happened? You can use the regular account to fund the iSave account. So you can use salary deduction. It can be salary deducted, or you can get the money to your regular account because it's a fixed amount that you have to pay each month. There's a date that you have to pay. So normally it's recommended that you pay it from your account. So VMBS would put a monthly transfer in place, and on that day, it takes it from the account and pay it over.
All right, thank you so much for that. What are some of the issues that will cause you not to get a loan? I guess this is just a repetition. Go ahead. Some of the issues, what can cause you not to get a loan? I come to you, I need a loan. What do I need to have? What will you say to me? Sorry, Thelma.
Credit.
Sorry, Ms. Porter, can't get a loan because of X, Y, Z.
Honestly, I think the main thing is when you're not open and honest. You know, sometimes, you know, your persons give information, and then on our end, when we check, it's just not so. That definitely can hamper you. Two, it can be credit, but it depends on what happened. If it's just pure negligence and you don't care about paying your bills, you know, that can definitely deter you. Other than that, if you're in too much debt, that can deter you. Some people just keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and there really isn't any net. And if you're unemployed, that can deter you as well.
If you're in too much debt, would somebody who's in too much debt actually approach for purchasing a home?
Yeah, I want them to approach so I can help them to get out of debt. I can help them by showing them how to consolidate these debts or something. I really want them to come.
So there you have it. And she is like that. She will not just, she's not one of those who will just be like some of the organizations who will just leave you there in the cold. She will actually advise you. She will point you in the right direction and all of that. So you are safe with her. You're safe with her.
As a matter of fact, you don't have to only call me about business that you believe I'll profit from. So if you live in a house, you and your husband, and the house selling for 13 million, right? And both of your NHT can do it. You would just need to go to NHT and do it. But I mean, you can call me. I mean, a lot of persons here have asked me for advice, and it has nothing to do with me earning. You know, it's a passion. I'm really passionate about home ownership. So feel free to call me or send me a WhatsApp.
All right, as we close, thank you so much, ladies. As we close, just your final advice, your closing comments, Deaconess Maureen. I'd like Lady Alexia to also give her closing comments, but I'm not sure. There
I'm
she
sorry,
is.
I lost internet, so I had to rejoin.
Oh,
yeah.
You were frozen, you're thawed.
All right.
Good to have you back. How can you get home grant, or how can you qualify for one? That question just came in. And then the one before that, what is the interest rate on the iGain account?
Okay, so I'll take the iGain question. The iGain account, the interest return is dependent on the amount of the investment and the tenure of the fix. So it ranges from 0.65% up to 3%, dependent on the amount that you are going to invest. And from time to time, we do have special rates out. at higher yields than our normal market rates. So there's also that to consider. And the return on the I Save for Home, for the person who asked that, and it totally jumped out of my head, it's 3.5% per annum.
You found the information. Great. All right, thank you so much. Question, how can you get home grant, or how can you qualify for one?
I think I went through it on my presentation. However, they can call me. They can call me and I'll help them through.
All right. I think that's it. Thank you so much. A wealth of information. I'm going to just ask you ladies now, just to take 30 seconds each, just your closing comments to those who are watching, those who are listening right now. Let me take Alexia Campbell first.
So first thing I want to say is don't be discouraged, because oftentimes when we do presentations like these, people tend to exclude themselves now from the list. So they're like, oh, you know, I don't fall into any of those categories that they talked about, so I'm not going to be able to ever buy a home. We don't want you to be discouraged. We want you to come to us. We are the professionals. Let us guide you along the way. Let us help you to realize this dream. And I can't stress saving enough. When we're kids, we save a lot. Every time we get our lunch money, we save something out of it so we can go and hang out with our friends or do whatever it is that we want to do. But as we get older and we start to have more expenses, we tend to save a lot less. We save what is left after we've covered everything else. And I want us to just change that mindset. If you take nothing else from this presentation, I want you to take that, an attitude of saving. Give yourself that gift, the gift of saving. It's very important. It doesn't matter how small you start. If you can only save $500 per month now, do it. And then when you can save 1,000, you do it. And if you can save 100,000, you do it. Just ensure that you're saving something. So that's really it. I wish you all the best in your goals and your endeavors. Never believe that any of your dreams are too far out of reach. It can be done. It's just a matter of how we're going to go about it. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone. Have a wonderful, God-blessed week and be safe.
Thank you so very much. That's Alexia Campbell, 876-392-2572. And her email is alexia.campbell@myvmgroup.com. Thank you so very much. It was a pleasure.
It's my pleasure being here.
Yes, thank you. And your 30 seconds, Maureen Ruddock.
Well, my 30 seconds has to do with stepping out in faith. I implore you, people of God, step out in faith. Make that move. I'll give you a very short testimony. Someone approached me a few years ago at WAFIF to say that she wants to buy a house, but she had lost her home and she was kind of worried about how it's going to be looked at. And I'm like, girl, I've been there. You know, sometimes, I believe God put us together under this ministry to help each other. I've been there where I've lost home because of marriage and health issues. I've been there, with bad credit because I was trying to pay for my health with breast cancer. Just step out. I'm not here to judge anybody. I've been there, I've done that. But if we want to succeed, we have to make that step. Please, it doesn't matter if you're taking on $0, have the conversation. Where do I go from here? How long do you think it's going to take? I just want you to make that move.
Have the conversation and take it from there. It's not that you're just sitting rolling your thumbs. Right. You are actually doing some kind of preparation. So all you need to do is to arm yourself with the information that you have and go to the experts. Yes, Maureen Ruddock is there. Alexia Campbell is there. They are the experts. They'll be able to give you the advice that you need. So that's Maureen Ruddock, and her number is 876-862-7225, and the email mruddockreed@gmail.com. Thank you so much, ladies. It really has been a pleasure listening. No doubt, I did advise everybody listening to get your notepad and your pen to take notes. And I hope you did. This is WAFIF. This is a ministry that empowers you. It's a ministry all about empowerment, all about a holistic approach to how you see life. And once again, I just bless God for Bishop Courtney McLean and First Lady Reverend Nadine McLean for just having the ministry the way it is, just empowering all of us. And as I said to Bishop earlier, it can't be on his shoulders. He has worked, he has pushed nonstop. We see him for who he is. He just doesn't tell us to go and then he stands and he watches us. He actually moves as well. So he allows us to go, or he encourages us to go and to grow. If we don't move, it is on our own shoulders. This that we're completing now is just another example. A beautiful initiative. Certainly hope that you took it and you ran with it. And we hope that starting tomorrow, God willing, Alexia Campbell and Maureen Ruddock will be getting those calls, because you mean business, because you are going to be very intentional, very purposeful. The tagline says you can own it. So you have to believe that. Don't just get this information, be passionate about it, and then it stays here. When it becomes a very good presentation, when it becomes an excellent presentation, is when you take the information that you have received and you run with it. Don't let it just be head knowledge. That doesn't make sense. Execution is what we're about. So take it and move on it. So thank you once again, ladies. Thank you to everybody who's on Facebook. Thank you, those who joined on YouTube. Thank you, those who were with us on the Zoom platform. God be with you. I'm going to be closing out now in prayer. Thanks again, Deaconess Maureen. Thanks again, Alexia Campbell. Mighty God, we've just heard, we've received, we're armed with information. We thank you for the seeds sowed. Let us not just be filled now with excitement about the value that we have received, Lord, but instead, let us now yield to you for direction. Let us go into action mode. Let us do the research, make the calls, reach out to the relevant persons or the organizations that can help us to take us to the next level in the process, as directed by you, Heavenly Father. Give us that spirit of determination. Let us run with this information you have given us through these servants, Maureen and Alexia. Let us now decree a thing. We can own it. We bless you, Heavenly Father, and we consider it done. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, amen. So God bless you, everyone. Thank you so much. Watch out. Stay tuned. There will be another empowerment session somewhere down the road, because this is WAFIF. Love you. God bless you. Take care.